This video is for educational and documentary purposes only. It contains no ideological, political, or judgmental content. It was a place almost no one had heard of, yet so much blood was spilled there that the color of the Pacific map changed forever. Rabaul, a small town in the Bismarck archipelago, a natural harbor surrounded by volcanoes and dense jungle. Before 1941, just an exotic colony. But here, a chain reaction began, one that would pull America into the deadliest war in human history. In early December 1941, Japan prepared a sweeping series of attacks across the Pacific. Pearl Harbor was only the headline. The real aim lay farther south, islands with key airfields and access to vital sea routes. Rabaul was a strategic gem. Whoever held Rabaul held the northern flank of New Guinea and a pathway to Australia, and the Japanese knew it. By mid-January 1942, barely a month after Hawaii was struck, the Imperial Japanese Navy moved toward Rabaul. The invasion force included heavy cruisers, destroyers, aircraft carriers, and over 5,000 elite Marines. Facing them, 1,400 Australians, no heavy artillery, virtually no air support, and one order: hold the line. On January 20th, the skies erupted. Hundreds of Japanese bombers unleashed fire on Guadalcanal airfield and coastal defenses. Australian troops, alongside local forces, fought back. But it was clear, this was just the beginning. That night, the main assault began. Amphibious landings at 3 key beaches. The Japanese moved swiftly, relentlessly, without pause. Combat shifted to the jungle, close quarters, hand to hand. The Japanese night infiltration tactics were devastating. Entire defensive units vanished into the darkness. By dawn on January 23rd, they had breached the city. In the narrow streets, resistance crumbled. There was no heroic last stand. There was abandonment. No reinforcements from Canberra, no planes, no ships. The men were left to die. 4,000 Japanese troops took Rabaul with shocking speed, but at a cost: 200 dead in 2 days of fighting, and hundreds more in the brutal weeks ahead. For the prisoners, Rabaul became a nightmare. Nearly 1,000 Australians were captured, some executed immediately, the rest sent to camps where most never returned. To this day, many remain unaccounted for. Rabaul's fall was a wake-up call. For Australia, a moment of vulnerability. For the US, a signal that Japan aimed to dominate the South Pacific. Within weeks, America mobilized. Because now, it was no longer just about the Philippines or Midway. It was about Australia's survival and the entire Pacific theater. But for the Japanese, Rabaul was only the beginning. They transformed it into a fortress. Underground tunnels, supply depots, hospitals, airfields. Rabaul became the Gibraltar of the East. The 8th Fleet operated from here. Bombers launched raids on Port Moresby. Plans for the Solomon Islands were drafted here. All this in a town once home to farmers and fishermen, a place where no one expected war. But war came, and it wouldn't leave for a long time. The next chapter? Allied forces would choose not to storm Rabaul head-on. Instead, they would execute one of the most brilliant bypass strategies in military history. But before that, Rabaul would echo with thousands more gunshots, and the jungle would reek of death. They advanced with grim resolve. Australians, veterans of North Africa and the Middle East, now fought inch by inch through the sweltering jungle of New Britain. Their target, the Tobera airfield, a key Japanese stronghold shielding the gateway to Rabaul. Command knew this patch of ground, wedged between swamps and thick canopy, was worth more than hundreds of square miles of ocean. From here, bombers could strike deep. From here, the Solomons could be shielded. The Japanese understood it too. They had fortified Tobera like a citadel, camouflaged bunkers, trench networks, tunnels, minefields. They dug in as if they planned to hold it forever. At dawn, the battle ignited. Australian 25-pounders thundered. Explosions shredded the jungle, sending dirt and palm shards skyward. But as infantry moved forward, the Japanese guns roared back. The Type 92, nicknamed the Reaper. Short, lethal bursts. One could halt an entire platoon, and there were dozens. Still, the Australians pressed on, wave after wave, bayonets fixed. By sundown, over 200 lay dead, and it was only day one. In the following weeks, the jungle became a nightmare. Grenades, flamethrowers, hand-to-hand chaos. Officers lost contact. Maps became useless. It was survival and instinct. Sometimes, one soldier recalled, you just heard the enemy breathing, and you acted. One of the darkest moments, the assault on the Blood Cave, a former mine repurposed into a Japanese command post and weapons cache. Approaching it meant certain death. Every attempt was mowed down. Then came a new order: burn it out. 3 flamethrower troops, including Sergeant Lawrence, crawled forward covered by smoke. It took 2 hours. When they reached the entrance, fire erupted, screams, explosions, and then silence. The cave went quiet, forever. But that was just one of dozens. Each one claimed more lives. By March 20th, the Japanese lines finally broke. Australians reached the outskirts of Tobera. No one celebrated. The price? Over 900 wounded, nearly 300 dead. And the Japanese? More than 4,000. Most never left that jungle. Why did they fight to the last? It wasn't just orders. It was Bushido, the warrior code that saw death in battle as honor and surrender as eternal shame. Documents captured after the battle confirmed it. No retreat, no surrender, even without ammunition. Many wore grenades on belts to die with their enemy in one final act. And they did. This battle was a revelation. To the Allies, it showed how fanatical Japanese defense could be. To the Japanese, it proved they could hold out even in total isolation. And to the Americans, it was a reckoning. Before Rabaul, the war in the Pacific was a campaign. After Rabaul, it was a mission of annihilation. The enemy wouldn't surrender, couldn't be reasoned with, had to be destroyed, systematically, coldly, without illusion. This battle didn't just redraw maps, it reshaped strategies. No more limited engagements. From 1943 onward, the campaign against Rabaul became one of isolation and attrition. Air raids, naval blockades, a slow suffocation. American bombers, B-24's Liberators, B-25's Mitchells, later B-29s, wiped out depots, hangars, and radio towers. Rabaul was cut off, but it all began in the jungle, in nameless villages now etched in history. 4,000 lives for a scrap of earth, not just a number, a testament that the Pacific War was no less hellish than Europe, perhaps worse. Because here, no one surrendered, and those who survived carried the jungle with them, the cries of the wounded, and the gaze of an enemy ready to die, but never retreat. If you've watched this far, tell us in the comments, had you heard of this battle before? Did its scale surprise you? Subscribe to our channel and help us bring history's forgotten battles back into the light.